So hi, good afternoon. Meeting you after a very long time. So, oh my God, thank you. So, few of you asked that if we are going to extend the class, so we are not extending the class. Extending मतलब not हाँ 5 के बाद नहीं, because many of you have the classes. So, one more class तो नहीं, but I'll ask किसी और जिसकी classes आपकी होंगी ना, तो उसमें ही किसी से पूछ लूँगा कि 2 hours they teach, 1 hour I'll take from them, ठीक है? तो वो अपने लेवल पे I'll do the adjustment, ठीक है? And so I think that you asked that particular thing. कितने लोगों को बासवा recommendation से problem हो रही है? This बासवा committee recommendation. He asked me, so that's why I'm asking you. See, एक मेरी बात सुन लो. बासवा committee recommendation were already there from last 2-3 years. ठीक है? 2 साल से पड़ा हुआ था. ये एक्चुअली होता है ना कि जब जैसे आजकल इंडिया में पॉलिटिशियंस के पास, ऑपोजिशन के पास कोई काम नहीं बचा है, तो सेम जस्ट इन द सेम मैनर व्हेन हिंदू इज आउट ऑफ एनी पर्टिकुलर काइंड ऑफ न्यूज और इंफॉर्मेशन विच इज पर्टेनिंग टू सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जामिनेशन, तो इट क्रिएट्स अ रकस. ठीक है? सो दैट रिकमेंडेशन इज ऑलरेडी देयर फ्रॉम लास्ट 3 years एंड नो गवर्नमेंट फंक्शनरी सेड कि हम उसको कंसिडरेशन में रख रहे हैं. अरे वो कमेटी ऑलरेडी 3 साल से है, तो दैट इज देयर इन द कंसिडरेशन. ठीक है? हिंदू को बीच बीच में ये मतलब होता है ना कि वो अंदर से उठता है उनके कि वी आर द सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जामिनेशन ओरिएंटेड पेपर, सो दे यूज्ड टू पब्लिश इट इन द वन ऑफ देयर एडिशंस इन द हैदराबाद. ठीक है? सो वो और आयरनी देखो कि नो यू सी आयरनी देखो कि पीएमओ से ग्रीन सिग्नल वाज गिवन टू हिंदू which is anti NDA. ठीक है? which is anti NDA. So this is all kind of, and even who is going to verify that thing? फिर से बोलो, क्या बोलो? हाँ, इसीलिए रैली के लिए आया था सर, कल परसों मुखर्जी नगर. Oh my God, but I was there in the Mukherjee Nagar. I didn't saw him. अच्छा चलो उसको मत वो करो. वरुण गांधी was there in the ALS, I know very well. 15 days back he was there in the ALS, one of the coaching institute that you know, ठीक है, and he used to speak over there. वरुण गांधी जी को भी आजकल कुछ बीजेपी में काम नहीं मिल रहा है, ठीक है, तो and he is just trying to prove that he is more intelligent than Rahul Gandhi, ठीक है, so that's the point that he is traveling, so he is making some points over here and there, ठीक है, तो परेशान मत हो, it is not going to be implemented. अरे अभी देखो मोदी जी का वाटरलू ऑलरेडी गुजरात में पड़ा हुआ है, ठीक है, so his test is there, so if he is going to sail or not, that will be decided, जो भी होगा, whatever that would be there, but 2019 elections are very near, no recommendation is going to be implemented, that I can assure you. And दूसरा एक और चीज बताओ कि if you are going to remove the subject, particularly optional, which is the one of the recommendation of the Baswa committee, so if you are going to remove the optionals, ये UGC के professors क्या करेंगे ये लोग, ठीक है, इनका काम खत्म हो जाएगा, इनका इंपॉर्टेंस खत्म हो जाएगा, तो दे विल नॉट लेट इट हैपन. सो अभी तो फिलहाल के लिए नहीं होने वाला है, वट एवर रिकमेंडेशन दैट वुड बी देयर, दे विल नॉट लेट इट हैपन, ठीक है. सो डोंट वरी, प्रिपेयर, एंड इवन इफ इट इज गोइंग टू इम्प्लीमेंटेड, यू विल बी गिवन 3-4 years टू exhaust all your attempts and all the features which were there, ठीक है. So ये नहीं होने वाला है, and even वो 26 year का जो दूसरा recommendation, ठीक है, 26 years, I'll tell you one more committee was there, YK अलग committee, ठीक है, नाम सुना होगा, ठीक है. This committee was there at the time of the Manmohan Singh, and इन्होंने इतना क्या बोलते हैं, अलग टाइप सा रिकमेंडेशन दिया कि क्लास 12th के बाद सिविल सर्विसेज का एग्जाम ले लो ऑन द फ्रेंच पैटर्न, ठीक है. सो आइडियाज तो इंडिया में बहुत लोगों के पास बहुत है, ठीक है, बट ग्राउंड रियलिटी पे वो बैठता नहीं है, ठीक है. सो लुकिंग एट द ग्राउंड रियलिटी, 26 years इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. मैक्सिमम हो क्या सकता है कि जो 2 years ऐड किया था, वो 2 year ऐड किया हुआ ले सकते हैं वापस 30 year. एज लिमिट कुड बी 30 year, बट दैट ऑल्सो नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन, ठीक है. इंडिया में एक बार जो हो जाता है वो उसके बाद दोबारा हटाया नहीं जाता है. क्या करना चाहिए? कम करना चाहिए, लाइफ टाइम कर देना चाहिए. हाँ, मतलब ये हो जाए कि एक स्टेट वाले तो कह रहे एक मतलब वो होती है ना कि अंतिम इच्छा पूरी हो जाए. सो आप चिंता मत करो तुम लोग उसका, ठीक है. सो अभी कुछ नहीं होने वाला है और इसी ईयर इसी पैटर्न पे एग्जाम होने वाला है. सो क्या व्हाट डिड वी कंप्लीटेड, स्टार्ट करें. हर्षवर्धन, आई थिंक हर्षवर्धन वाज द लास्ट वन. व्हाट? दिल्ली सल्तनत के पहले अभी बाकी है, ठीक है. हाँ, so few things are baki, thoda bahut mention, we need to mention a little bit about the Pal, Pratihar and Rashtrakutas, theek hai, and then we'll talk about little bit mention of the Pallavas and Chalukyas, and then Cholas, then we'll move to the Delhi Sultanate, theek hai. So first hour would be about the this Pal, Pratihars and राष्ट्रकूटास, ठीक है. तो हर्षवर्धन वाज देयर 7th century AD, तुम लोगों ने पढ़ा, ठीक है. 7th century AD वाज देयर, एंड वी टॉक्ड अबाउट दैट कि वो 2 बुद्धिस्ट असेंबलीज, ठीक है, एंड देन ही लेफ्ट हिज किंगडम, ठीक है. सो आफ्टर दैट व्हेन दिस पर्टिकुलर पुष्यभूति डायनेस्टी, it got disintegrated to three indigenous dynasties emerged in this north part of the India, ठीक है. And north till Maharashtra they were Pal, Pratihar and Rashtrakutas, ठीक है. So these 3 dynasties emerged, and they were initially they were kind of the Rajputs, ठीक है. And then further few of them accepted Buddhism, particularly this Pala dynasty, ठीक है. And then Pratihars were in the Western India, Pratihar, and then this one Rashtrakutas, ठीक है. तो Rashtrakutas were there in the Deccan. So इनके बारे में थोड़ा about some important ruler and then few things related to them, ठीक है. तो वो कर लेते. So you write after the death of Harshvardhan, in 7th century AD, Harshvardhan in 7th century AD, three Important dynasties emerged in North and Deccan. 3 important dynasties emerged in North and Deccan. North and Deccan. ठीक है? Then one by one we'll see. So first you write Pala. First one, Pal dynasty. ठीक है? Pal dynasty, and who was the founder? So founder was Gopal. ठीक है? So you write this dynasty was established by Gopal in 750 AD. Gopal in 750 AD. And what was the stretch of this dynasty where it was located? Eastern India, ठीक है? Particularly the Bihar, northern part of the Bihar and some parts of the Bengal, ठीक है? Also, पूरा whole of the Bengal, ठीक है? So northern Bengal. So you write which was spread in the eastern part of India, which was spread in the eastern part of India. So it was established by this guy, but most important ruler was the Dharampal. ठीक है? So right. However, the most important ruler among them. However, the most important ruler among them was Dharampal. Dharampal. ठीक है? And you have read something about the Pala dynasty in the art and culture वाला section. कहाँ पे पढ़ा था? Painting में. Pala painting. ठीक है? So that Pala painting was associated with the Buddhist theme. So these were the people who established this particular, who created that Pala painting. ठीक है? तो लिखो कि Dharampal accepted Buddhism and patronized Buddhist learning and tradition in India. Patronized Buddhist learning and tradition in India. So, what was one of the very important contribution of this guy related to the same? University. Few university he established. ठीक है? What was that? हाँ, Vikramshila University. Nalanda he gave funding. ठीक है? Nalanda he donated 200 villages to the Nalanda, but he established 3 universities. One was Vikramshila, Udantapura, and Somarupa. ठीक है? So you write he established University of Vikramshila, Udantapura, and Somrup. Vikramshila, Udantapura, and Somrup. Then further you write, he also granted 200 villages. He also granted 200 villages for the maintenance of Nalanda University. He also granted 200 villages for the maintenance of Nalanda University. Okay. So this was little bit information about this Pala dynasty. Then now come to the Patihars. So next you write Patihar. एक चीज पूछना था मुझे. In last class we did completed that Sangam assembly, but we only talked about that. क्या क्या बात किया था एक बार दिखा दो, क्योंकि I think that one thing I have missed in that. So only history. अच्छा इसके पहले होगा, गुप्तास के पहले, ठीक है, एक मिनट रुक जाओ। अच्छा, वी ओनली टॉक्ड अबाउट देयर पॉलिटिकल हिस्ट्री, ठीक है, बट लैंग्वेज लिटरेचर वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड ओवर देयर इन द लैंग्वेज एंड लिटरेचर। उसमें एक एडिशन आई वांट टू डू, यू हैव रिटन संगम असेंबली में, यू हैव रिटन 2 एपिक्स, ठीक है, एंड नेम अब तो बहुत बार क्लास में हम लोग ले चुके हैं। सो व्हाट्स द नेम ऑफ द 2 एपिक्स ऑफ दैट तमिल? हाँ, थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट नेम है, एक हिंट तो दो, याद भी नहीं आ रहा है किसी को। सिलापदिकरम, अब अभी याद आया? ठीक है, सो एंड वन मोर इज द मणिमेकलाई। इसमें बस एडिशन ये करना है कि दिस वन वाज हैविंग बुद्धिस्ट ओरिएंटेशन एंड दिस वन वाज हैविंग ओरिएंटेशन रिलेटेड टू जैनिज्म, ठीक है। सो हियर आइडियल्स वर बुद्धिस्ट, इसमें लिखना सिलापदिक्रम, बुद्धिस्ट आइडियल्स वर एक्सपाउंडेड, बुद्धिस्ट आइडियल्स were expounded. This can be a very good kind of question if it is asked in the prelims, ठीक है, because this has been asked, Silapadikaram has been asked, but this particular part is not asked, कि which particular religion they do have the their ideals are associated, and Jainism ideals are expounded. हाँ, the same. I'll tell you the story today also. Some few new things related to the story and few new things related to those kings also. So Jainism ideals. लेकिन इसमें से कुछ लिखना नहीं, ठीक है? Were expounded. And then we'll come to the Pratiharas. So we did told about the only one part of the story. That part of the story, that affair of the Kovalam and Madhavi. But we didn't proceeded more towards that because you see, so what was there, that there was this rich merchant, Kovalam, ठीक है, अब इसको सुन लेना तुम लोग, ठीक है, and there was this courtesan named Madhavi, ठीक है, so Kovalam and Madhavi were there, these two were there, and wife of the Kovalam, what's the name of that girl? Lady, Kannagi, ठीक है, so Kannagi was there. These 3 people are the more important, and then we need to talk about the king who was there, most important Pandyan king. तुम देखो उसमें संगम असेंबली में you have written that most important king of the Pandya dynasty was Nedunjelian, ठीक है, so on that day we talked about him, Nedunjelian, ठीक है, so these are the 4 main characters of this Silapadikaram, ठीक है, so what is the story? So we only said that this is the love affair of the Kovalam and Madhavi, ठीक है, so in initial phase what happened? Now you listen to the story. In initial phase what happened, that Kovalam, he fell in love with the Madhavi. Madhavi was a courtesan, she was rich, and she was one of the favorite of the Nedunjelian, and she was a dancer, ठीक है, so she was a courtesan, she used to live in the court of the Nedunjelian, and he fell in love with her, ठीक है, she also fell in love with him, ठीक है, so both fell in love with them, but after some time he realized his fault, he realized his guilt, and then he confessed to Kannagi, everything he confessed to Kannagi and asked for the forgiveness. So Kannagi was she is the idol of the chastity. What is chastity? Pativrata. Chastity is the Pativrata. Savitri suna hai na? So just like in the North India, Savitri is there, she is the idol of the chastity. So she just forgave his this Kovalam, ठीक है, she forgave, and in that process, since he was a rich merchant, but when he was in love with the Madhavi, ठीक है, so Madhavi extracted all his money, ठीक है, so now he was left with nothing. So process में सारे पैसे उड़ा दिया. So what happened कि he asked then what we need to do. So at that point of time, Kannagi was having 2 anklets, 2 very beautiful diamond जड़ा हुआ anklet. Anklet, you know ना, that people used to wear in the ankle. So these anklets were there. So one of the anklet she gave to Kovalam, ठीक है, one of the anklet she gave to Kovalam and said that you go sell it in the market and then we'll start our business, ठीक है, we'll start our enterprise again. But what happened when he just sold that particular anklet into the market, somehow Madhavi got to know, ठीक है, and she framed him, ठीक है, she said that this anklet belongs to the wife of the Nedunjelian, ठीक है, and same anklet was there with the wife of Nedunjelian also. the or the king. So what happened? Ki she just framed him. Kovalam was framed, and in this framing, what happened? That Kovalam was executed without any investigation. Kovalam was executed by Nedunzelian. ठीक है? Then Kannagi came into the court. She showed the other anklet. ठीक है? And she asked king, "You better investigate." ठीक है? And then you would have given the punishment. So then the king investigated, and he found that the anklet of the queen was intact there in the kingdom. So that particular king was in the remorse. He was in the paschatap, and Kannagi cursed him. Okay? So this story is about the curse of the Kannagi, and it is all about the pap and paschatap. Okay? So this is the story. Then further, so when Kannagi cursed him, so at that point of time, Nedunjelian was the Pandya ruler. Okay? He was the most important. उसी time पे इनके friend, not friend, मतलब enemy, चेरा ruler, Senguttuvan, जो आपने अपने उसमें लिखा है, ठीक है? So Senguttuvan was there, Chera ruler, and this Senguttuvan, he was known as the good Chera, ठीक है? So he just celebrated this curse of the Kannagi, and that's how he made the temple of Kannagi. ठीक है? You have written that temple of Kannagi. So yes, it is there. So still that temple is intact. Still that temple is there. So that's how that temple was created. Okay? So that's why this story is there. Then what about this money maker? So in this particular book, the Buddhist ideals are there. Okay? Ki what needs to be, whatever that has been prescribed by the Buddha is discussed in that. And everywhere you will find that ideals. Story or story ke saath ideal. Okay? Then what about this money maker? I told you that Mani Mekalai was the story of the Kovalam and Madhavi say born daughter, Mani Mekalai. Okay? So actually the fight was this, ki when Madhavi became pregnant, okay, when she became pregnant, so she used to call that you marry me also. Okay? But he has already confessed to Kannagi. So that daughter was born. So wo daughter jab born hui, so she was in the revenge mood. She took her revenge. Okay? But she also died. Later she felt that she has done some mistake. Now this daughter was orphaned. Okay? But whatever that Madhavi did, उसके साथ इसमें इस daughter का तो कोई role नहीं था. ठीक है? But she was discriminated in the society. And in the last part of life, she found refuge in Jainism and she accepted Jainism. ठीक है? So this is the story of these two epics. Now I think that कि अब तुम लोग को याद करने में थोड़ी आसानी होगी. कहानी याद रहेगी. ठीक है? So बस ये पार्ट में याद क्या रखना है कि you just need to remember that here Buddhist ideals were there and here Jainism ideals were there. ठीक है? अब चलो come back to the pratihars. So pratihar, तो प्रतिहार में लिखो this dynasty was spread in the western part of India. This dynasty was spread in the western part of India, and the most important ruler of this dynasty was Mihir Bhoj. Was Mihir Bhoj. ठीक है? Full stop. Then you write, he was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. He was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And he adopted the title of Adi Varaha. So Varaha का मतलब होता है ना विष्णु. ठीक है? And Adi you already know that primitive, most ancient form of the Vishnu. हाँ. So हाँ primitive बोल सकते हैं. ठीक है? So Adi Varaha. So he adopted this title और इसके बाद then he started to proclaim himself as a god. ठीक है? So that was also the one thing that he started to proclaim. तो ये भी लिख लो कि he started to proclaim him as the god. पहले हम लोग लिखते थे क्लासेस में मैसेंजर ऑफ द गॉड, बाबा जी के अरेस्ट होने के बाद मैंने ये हटा दिया, ठीक है. So only proclaimed as the god. But what was the main thing associated with this guy was that at that point of time he was having one of the very strongest cavalry in the Indian subcontinent. Okay? So you write one of the very important feature of his rule. One of the very important feature of his rule was one of the strongest cavalry in the region. One of the strongest cavalry in the region, ठीक है. But उससे भी interesting thing ये था कि cavalry की बात करते हैं. So when we talk about the horses, तो normally the thing that comes to mind कि horses were brought from Central Asia, ठीक है. Because it got originated in Central Asia, but obvious to that trend कि bringing horses from the Central Asia, they brought horses from the Cambodge, ठीक है. और this Cambodge is different from the Cambodge which you have written in the 16 Mahajanpadas. This Cambodge is Cambodia, ठीक है. So Cambodia was also called as the Cambodge, ठीक है. So you write, and he procured his horses from Cambodge and Central Asia, ठीक है. Cambodge and Central Asia, और Cambodge में लिखना मॉडर्न Cambodia. अच्छा, सुवर्ण भूमि, which is सुवर्ण भूमि? सुवर्ण भूमि and सुवर्ण द्वीप, two are there. म्यांमार is सुवर्ण भूमि, ठीक है. And सुवर्ण द्वीप नहीं, श्रीलंका is not there. सुवर्ण द्वीप is Indonesia, ठीक है. बाली, जावा, these are the, so द्वीप, Indonesia is already island, ठीक है. और भूमि is the म्यांमार. ये सब एक साथ के नेम थे. कंबोज, सुवर्ण भूमि, सुवर्ण द्वीप, these were the earlier names of this South Asian countries, ठीक है. स्वर्ण भूमि that was part of that. म्यांमार और थाईलैंड दोनों को जोड़ के बोलते थे स्वर्ण भूमि, ठीक है. बिफोर दिस मतलब फॉर्मल बाउंड्री, ठीक है. एंड फॉर्मल बाउंड्री यू ऑलरेडी नो, देयर इज वन रिवर छायोपराया. नहीं पढ़ा है, पढ़ लोगे तुम लोग ज्योग्राफी में. सो जो बाउंड्री बनती है ना, सो बाउंड्री बनती है दोनों के बीच में, म्यांमार और दिस, एंड देयर इज वन वेरी गुड रिवर, वेरी फेमस रिवर छायोपराया, ठीक है. सो दैट रिवर इज देयर. एंड सो दिस वाज अबाउट द प्रतिहार. नाउ कम टू द राष्ट्रकूटास, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट यू राइट राष्ट्रकूटास. Rashtrakutas. Then you write, it was established by Danti Durg, Dantidorg. Danti Durg. It was established by Danti Durg in 757 AD. In 757 AD in Deccan. ठीक है, in Deccan. Then he was the founder, but very important ruler of this dynasty was your Amoghvars. And somehow this guy is related with the beginning of the Kannada in that area. So we have read about the Tamil, that Tamil got started during this period of the Tamil assembly, Sangam assembly. So 3rd to 6th century AD, Sangam assembly happened. Okay? And then onwards, so around 750, this particular dynasty was established, and after 30 years, around 780, the first Kannada poetic book was written by the Amoghvars, known as Kaviraj Marg. Okay? So his greatest contribution is toward the Kannada poetics. Okay? So isko likho ki Amoghvars लिखा ना, the most important ruler of the dynasty was Amoghvars. Then you write, he undertook among words. ठीक है? So among words undertook many cultural activities. Undertook many cultural activities. Among words took many cultural activities, and he wrote the earliest book on Kannada poetics. He wrote an earliest book on Kannada poetics named as Kaviraj Marg. Known as Kaviraj Marg. Kaviraj Marg. ठीक है? So these dynasties were there till 1000 AD, और उसके बाद then again we'll come back to, now we are leaving the North India over here. फिर medieval period में we'll come back to the this North India, where we will talk about the 7 Rajput families, जिसमें से चौहान, चंदेल, तोमर, ठीक है, then गहदौलास. So these all Rajputs will discuss in the. So यहाँ पे अब North India का खत्म हो गया, ठीक है? Till 1000 AD they were there. Now again, तो 7th century, in the middle of the 8th century, these people were there. Again we need to go back to the South India, ठीक है? तो in South India we talk that कि चोला चेरा पांड्यास के बाद दिन 6th century AD में we stopped at the Chola Chera Pandya, Sangam assembly, ठीक है? After this 6th century AD, in the South India, 2 important dynasties emerged in the South India, and you have read about them. One was your Pallava, ठीक है? अब इनकी जगह Pallava, and then one was your Chalukya. So in the southern Karnataka part, Chalukyas were there, and in the upper part of the Tamil Nadu and southern part of the Andhra Pradesh, this Pallavas emerged, ठीक है? So slowly they became the most important rulers, and then इसके बाद दिन इनका end होने के बाद दिन Chalukyas and Pallavas, again mainline Cholas will come, ठीक है? So ये 200 साल तक, till 200 years these people would be there, and then after mainline Cholas would be there the persons who, the dynasty which created that Brihadeswara temple, ठीक है? So जो पढ़ा था हम लोगों ने, we have written that, ठीक है? So Rajendra first, and then Raj Raja first. So they belong to this mainline Chola dynasty, ठीक है? And mainline Chola dynasty is considered as the beginning of the medieval period in India, ठीक है? Islamic period is different, ठीक है? Islamic medieval is different, but it is considered as the earliest medieval period of India, this mainline Chola dynasty, ठीक है? So they would be there, and then we'll come back to the North India, और वहाँ पे हम start करेंगे दिल्ली सल्तनत से. At the same point of time, we'll talk about this Rajputs also, ठीक है? So now come to the South Indian part. तो South Indian part में you write, towards the end of the Sangam period, two important dynasties emerged in South India. Towards the end of Sangam period, two important dynasties emerged in South India. Who were Chalukyas of Badami, and Badami ko they used to call it Vatapi also, ठीक है? So in brackets you also write Vatapi, Chalukyas of Badami, and Pallavas of Kanchi. ठीक है. So they were the after these three Sangam assembly dynasties which were Chera, Chola and Pandyas. ठीक है. तो उनके बाद these two became the most important ruler. ठीक है. And they acquired a lot much area over there. But these two dynasties, since they were strong, so they used to fight with themselves. Oh, but obviously they will fight with themselves. But the reason of the fight between the two was the one of the Doab area. ठीक है. So the reason of fight was for the Doab area. How many of you don't understand Doab? हाँ, दो रिवर्स के बीच में जो फर्टाइल लैंड होता है, ठीक है. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द दोआब एरिया. ठीक है. एंड मोस्ट फेमस दोआब्स इन इंडिया, विच वन? हाँ, पंजाब में ऑल मेनी दोआब्स आर देयर. ठीक है. सो सबसे ऊपर विच रिवर इज देयर? सब इंडस, देन झेलम, चनाब, रावी, सतलज. सो व्हाट्स द नेम ऑफ दिस Jhelum and Chenab? What is the name of this Doab? Chhaj. Yes, very good, Chhaj. ठीक है. Then this one Rachna. ठीक है. Bari and Satluj and Byas के बीच वाले का Bist. Yes, very good. These are the Doabs. याद रखना है सब. ठीक है. So these Doabs were there and one of the Doab. तो ये तो बहुत लेटर पार्ट में है कि दिस बिकेम वेरी फर्टाइल. बट एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम देयर वाज वन दोआब इन इंडिया व्हिच वाज द कंसिडर्ड एज द मोस्ट फर्टाइल दोआब. ठीक है. एंड दैट दोआब इज द तुंगभद्रा एंड कृष्णा दोआब. ठीक है. सो कृष्णा फ्रॉम अपर साइड कृष्णा वाज देयर एंड लोअर साइड दिस तुंगभद्रा वाज देयर. सो दिस वाज वन ऑफ द वेरी फर्टाइल रीजन्स ऑफ दैट एरिया एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द सेम दे यूज्ड टू फाइट विद ईच अदर. ठीक है. सो यू राइट. These two dynasties clashed with each other. Cheras and Pandyas. Pallavas and Chalukya. फिर चोला. ठीक है. सो डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू चोलास. ठीक है. वो अर्ली चोला थे और ये मेन लाइन चोला आएंगे. ठीक है. सो बट थोड़ा बहुत लिंक है. लिंक ये नो दोनों चोलास के बीच में लिंक ये है कि दिस मेन लाइन चोलास दे यूज टू से दैट कि वी हैव लिनिएज फ्रॉम द अर्लीस्ट चोला. ठीक है. कि जब ये लोगों का रूल खत्म हो गया, व्हेन द रूल ऑफ दिस अर्लीस्ट चोला एंडेड, तो दे वर लिविंग समवेयर इन दैट रीजन. ठीक है. इन सम डायनेस्टीज दे यूज टू वर्क एंड व्हेन दे फाउंड एम्पल अपॉर्चुनिटी सो दे केम टू पावर. ठीक है. सो इनका एक बोल सकते हो कि काइंड ऑफ कंटिन्यूएशन कुड बी देयर. बट हाँ, इनिशियली दे वर कॉल्ड एज द अर्ली चोला एंड नाउ दे विल बी कॉल्ड एज द मेन लाइन चोला. ठीक है. सो क्या लिखा? दीज टू डायनेस्टीज यूज्ड टू क्लैश विथ ईच अदर. These two dynasties used to clash with each other to get mastery over the area. To get mastery over the area lying between the Krishna and Tungabhadra river. Krishna and Tungabhadra river. To get mastery over the area lying between the rivers Krishna and Tungabhadra. ठीक है. So and Krishna used to come from the which particular state? Maharashtra. ठीक है. So it starts from the Maharashtra and Tungabhadra from the Karnataka. ठीक है. तो lower side में Tungabhadra and upper side this Krishna. And even जब geography में location पढ़ोगे ना, तो ये दो rivers हैं, Tunga and Bhadra. ठीक है. एक Tunga है and एक Bhadra है. और when these two combine, so they now onwards they are known as the Tungabhadra. ठीक है. नहीं, दोआब का नेम यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. कृष्णा तुंगभद्रा दोआब ही बोलते थे इसको. ठीक है. उसका नेम का नेमिंग इज देयर इन दिस पंजाब पार्ट. ठीक है. नॉट ओवर हियर. सो दिस वाज देयर. देन फर्दर what is the most important contribution, yeah, most important thing which we always used to associate with these two dynasties? Temple architecture. Both are attributed for the temple architecture. This Pallavas are attributed for the Dravida style and Chalukyas for the Vesara style. ठीक है. So Vesara हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था. ठीक है. So that Vesara style to the Chalukyas and this one to the Pallavas. ठीक है. And I talked about that कि initially this Pallavas were Jainism. They used to follow Jainism. बात किया मुझे याद है. So Jainism, and later under a Saivite saint Apar, they accepted Hinduism. ठीक है. So Hinduism accept करने के बाद then they started to make the temples. ठीक है. And then we talked about the temple stages में महेंद्र वर्मन, नरसिम्हा वर्मन. तो they were the rulers. ठीक है. So वो सबको mention करने का जरूरत नहीं है. But some fight between the Chalukya and the this Mahendra Narasimha Varman will talk. ठीक है. So आगे लिखो. The most powerful Chalukya ruler. The most powerful Chalukya ruler was Pulakesin II. ठीक है. Was Pulakesin II. अच्छा, then we have talked about Pulakesin II. Harshvardhan को he defeated at the banks of the river Narmada. Then he also defeated the Pallava ruler Mahendra Varman. ठीक है. तो आगे लिखो. Pulakesin II. ठीक है. Then you write he defeated the Pallava ruler Mahendra Varman first. He defeated the Pallava ruler Mahendra Varman first. Mahendra Varman first. And annexed Mahendra Varman first and annexed large part of Pallava's territory. Annexed large part of Pallava's territory. Then उसके बाद then after he defeated Mahendra Varman, तो after some time Mahendra Varman died and his son Narasimha Varman became the ruler. ठीक है. So when Narasimha Varman became the ruler, so whatever part that was annexed by Pulakesin II, so again that got Narasimha Varman got the control of that area. So when he got that control of the area, so again Pulakesin II got irritated and he led one more expedition, and in this expedition he was defeated. ठीक है. So Narasimha Varman defeated. So you write. But in his second endeavor against the Pallavas, was defeated by next ruler Narasimha Varman first. Narasimha Varman first. ठीक है. So Narasimha Varman first. Then the same thing he will also repeat. So when Pulakesin II, when he defeated Mahendra Varman, he acquired his territory, large part of his territory. तो इसने क्या किया कि इसने और अच्छे से बदला लिया कि पूरा कैपिटल ही कंट्रोल कर लिया. ठीक है. सो पूरा कैपिटल से ही पूरे पल्लवा रूलर्स को, चालुक्य रूलर्स को भगा दिया. ठीक है. सो यू राइट नरसिम्हा वर्मन annexed the Chalukya capital Badami. Annexed the Chalukya capital Badami, and he took the title. Vatapi Kondi. He took the title of Vatapi Kondi. So basically it means that the conqueror of the Vatapi. Okay? So Kondi in that it is known as the conqueror. So conqueror of Vatapi. Conqueror of Vatapi. So this was about this fight, and when both were fighting with each other, they got decimated by the Cholas. Okay? So they were not aware that in their infight someone new will emerge. Okay? So you write these two dynasties while fighting with each other, paved the way, paved the way, paved the way for one of the very important dynasties of South India. Paved the way for one of the very important, one of the, and as far as South Indian history is concerned, Cholas were the most important rulers of the South India. Okay? So one of the very important ruler dynasty, mainline Cholas. Mainline Cholas. Paved the way for the very important dynasty, mainline Chola. Okay? So before moving into the mainline Chola, few things related to these two people. एक बार लिख लो कि both Pallavas and Chalukyas, both Pallavas and Chalukyas were known for constructing temples in South India. Were known for constructing temples in South India. ठीक है? ठीक है? Then you write, Pallavas contributed to the development of Dravida temple and Chalukya to the Vesara temple. Pallavas contributed towards the development of Dravida style of temple, and Chalukyas towards the development of Vesara temple. ठीक है? Dravida temple and Vesara temple. So this was there. Then further, I think did we talked about that Hoysala a little bit? Temple में कहीं पढ़ा था Hoysala, ठीक है? So these Hoysalas were also related with the Chalukyas, ठीक है? There were also the अब Chalukyas के बारे में एक चीज सुन लेना. हाँ, Chalukyas were these Chalukyas when they got defeated, ठीक है? Their this Cholas became the mainline Cholas. तो basically Chalukyas का बहुत सारा branch create हो गया, ठीक है? One branch became the Eastern Chalukya and one branch became the Western Chalukya, ठीक है? And one branch went to the Gujarat, Solanki, ठीक है? Solanki that we have read. So it got branched off into the many dynasties. Small, not very important rulers were there, but small dynasty. And only important ruler was that who were there in the this Gujarat part. Raja Bhimdev Solanki was one of the very important ruler. ठीक है? So एक बस याद रखना कि they got divided into the Western Chalukya and Eastern Chalukya. So इसको भी लिख लो कि towards their disintegration. Kadambi, yes, Kadambi, इसमें ईस्टर्न में आ जाएगा, ठीक है? और फिर उसके बाद वेस्टर्न, हाँ ईस्टर्न में आ जाएगा कदम्बी, ठीक है? एंड वेस्टर्न में मेजरली वी विल कंसिडर द होयसलास एंड देन दैट सोलंकी आल्सो. और हैव यू रेड अबाउट दैट, रेड नहीं पढ़ा है ना तुम लोगों ने? वो मूवी देखी थी अभी, कौन सी आई थी? बाहुबली, ठीक है? सो भल्लाल देव बिलोंग्स टू द सेम, ठीक है? हाँ, actually he belongs to the this Hoysala ruler. He was the Hoysala ruler, ठीक है? And Harihar, you already know, he belonged to the this one Bukka, no Harihar, sorry, Vijayanagar, ठीक है? So Harihar, ठीक है? Harihar 1, Harihar 2, ठीक है? So that way this was there. So these all characters were there in the Indian history, and somehow Raja Mauli collected all the characters, and we talked about that weapon also, that how he took the example of the weapons, ठीक है? So these were related with this one, ठीक है? तो क्या लिखा था? Towards the disintegration, Chalukya got divided into two branches. Chalukyas got divided into two branches, which is Eastern Chalukya and Western Chalukya. Then उसी में आगे लिख लेना कि the Solanki rulers of Gujarat, and the Hoysala of Karnataka, the Solanki rulers of Gujarat and the Hoysalas of Karnataka are considered as the clans of Chalukya. Are considered as the clans of Chalukya. ठीक है? So clans, you know, na, they are relatives. ठीक है? So they were relatives. Blood relation was there in between them. ठीक है? So they were there. Now we'll talk about the mainline Chola. ठीक है? So now we change paragraph and then we'll write. So in the 9th century AD, in the 9th century AD, in the 9th century AD, the mainline Chola dynasty, the mainline Chola dynasty was established by Vijayalaya. Was established by Vijayalaya. Mainline Chola dynasty was established by Vijayalaya. ठीक है? So he was the founder of the mainline Chola dynasty, but the most important ruler of this dynasty was the Rajaraja I and the Rajendra I. ठीक है? So लिखो कि however, the most important ruler, among the Cholas, was Rajaraja first, and brackets में लिखना period 985 to 1014 AD. Rajaraja first, 985 to 1014 AD. ठीक है? And Rajendra first. And Rajendra first. ठीक है? Then this Chola dynasty, from the very beginning, even the that early Cholas also and mainline Cholas also, they were in love with the Sri Lanka. ठीक है? So every time they used to come to the power, they used to march towards the Sri Lanka. ठीक है? And this time when they came to power, so particularly this ruler Rajaraja first, he marched towards the northern Sri Lanka, which is the today's Jaffna. ठीक है? So he won this Jaffna province and made it the one of the part of the Chola dynasty. But a little bit information about the Sri Lanka I want to know from you people. Who established this Sri Lanka particular as a country? Mythologically. Ravan, हाँ, mythologically Ravan, ठीक है? And then onwards, उसके बाद then? अच्छा, देखो, Ravan you already know, he was considered an Asura, ठीक है? So, just like that, Britishers used to call that Indians were uncivilized and we civilized them, ठीक है? So, in the same manner, we used to call it that Sri Lankans were uncivilized and we civilized them, ठीक है? So, basically, this Sri Lanka, it was the kingdom of the Sri Lanka was established by one guy from the Odisha, ठीक है? So, have you any idea about the same? No. So have you any idea about the flag of the Sri Lanka? What is there in the flag? Lion is there, ठीक है? Lion is there. But do you think that any lion is found over there in the Sri Lanka? Even in the history also? कभी lion था ही नहीं, ठीक है? Basically lion was found over there in the Bhitarkanika, Odisha, ठीक है? You will read about the same in the environment section, Bhitarkanika and all these places which are tiger reserves and lion reserves which were there. Okay? So in India right now, the lions are there in the Gir forest. Okay? But at that point of time, in way back, it was there in the Gujarat or is this Odisha part also. Okay? So there was a king in the Odisha. I think that he belonged to the Ganga or some dynasties. Not Ganga dynasty, but before that some dynasty was there. So there was one ruler of this dynasty whose name was Simhala. ठीक है? And Simhala, so this Simhala was outcasted by his father. ठीक है? बाप ने भगा दिया वहाँ से, ठीक है? We don't know the exact reasons, ठीक है? But he was outcasted by his father and he was drove towards the exterior of the kingdom of the Odisha, Kalinga, ठीक है? So he went to Sri Lanka, ठीक है? And in Sri Lanka, he established the Simhala kingdom. ठीक है? And that's how the Sri Lankan language is known as the Simhalese. ठीक है? And then that's how the same lion symbol which was there in the Odisha, he went with the same in the Sri Lanka. ठीक है? So basically in this northern part, the Simhalese were the people whom this particular ruler Raj Raja first defeated. ठीक है? So basically Indians were there and he defeated the same. And that's how the Indians are more concentrated in the northern part in the Jaffna. ठीक है? So that is the story, little bit story about the same. So आगे लिखो इसमें कि Raj, you write, the Cholas maintained an effective naval power. The Cholas maintained an effective naval power. अच्छा, एक और चीज पूछूंगा फिर नवल पावर की बात आई. ठीक है? क्योंकि बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस क्रिएट होते हैं. ठीक है? पहले बताओ मुझे कि विच कंट्री इज द फर्स्ट कंट्री विच इज नोन फॉर द नेविगेशन? मिडिल, ब्रिटेन. अरे यार, मॉडर्न नेविगेशन हो गया. ठीक है? मुझे तो लग रहा था तुम कुछ ओरिएंटल कंट्रीज बताओगे तुम लोग. विच वन? नॉट इजिप्ट. ठीक है? एंड अच्छा चलो, एक और इसी में एक और सवाल ऐड करूंगा. हु वर द फर्स्ट पीपल टू मेक द बोट्स? I can see that now lot many Indians don't take pride in Indianity. सुना नहीं तुमने मुझे? हाँ, चोलास बोल दिया तुमने. Indians were there. ठीक है? So actually first navigation according to our text. ठीक है? So according to our text, we are the people who made the first boat. ठीक है? We are the first people to make the boats. But navigation technology got developed in the China. ठीक है? Compass, you know. You all know compass was invented over there, which suggests that navigation technology was known to the Chinese and Indians. ठीक है? And that's why the Oriental societies are the one of the most respected. But we do have the information about the boat makers. The first boat makers of the world, first big boat makers of the world were Zamorins. ठीक है? Zamorins of Kerala. And still these Zamorins are used to be there. Have you heard about that कि when Vasco da Gama came to India, तो he was welcomed by a Zamorin king. ठीक है? ठीक है? So Zamorin king. तो this Zamorin are the kind of people who used to follow both Hinduism and Islam. ठीक है? उनके हिस्ट्री के बारे में पढ़ोगे. So from time immemorial, their only work was that कि to make the boats. And that's why they were one of the most respected community in the Kerala. ठीक है? So हमारी जो भी टेक्स्ट है, there are many texts. Have you heard about this Dhanurved, Agni Puran? ठीक है? So in this all text, this is all written. ठीक है? And somehow I expect that किसी न किसी year UPSC पूछेगा कि the kind of ancient warfare in India. हाँ, because पता नहीं, I don't know, कहीं ये mention नहीं है. Ancient warfare can be considered as the part of the this particularly this one. कल्चर पार्ट. ठीक है? एंशियंट वारफेयर के दे कैन आस्क. तो मैं लिखवा तो नहीं रहा हूँ, बट मैं 2-3 मिनट में बता दूंगा तुम लोगों को. ठीक है? कि तुम्हें क्या लिखना होगा. एंशियंट वारफेयर गॉट स्टार्टेड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द टू थिंग्स. वन वॉज योर एंशियंट वारफेयर वॉज डिवाइडेड इनटू द टू थिंग्स. वन वॉज योर युद्ध नीति एंड वन वॉज योर कूटनीति. ठीक है? सो युद्ध नीति वॉज वॉट दैट from the very time immemorial, Rigvedic period से, चूंकि ऋग्वेदा पढ़ा तो it is part of the Rigvedic period. So Rigvedic period onwards, युद्ध नीति was that formal face-to-face war. ठीक है? But कूटनीति was what? Conspiracy, diplomacy. ठीक है? So it was conspiracy and diplomacy which was first manifested during the this Chanakya period. ठीक है? So he was the first conspirator of the Indian warfare. ठीक है? This was there. Then in the Rigvedic text, ठीक है? In the Vedic text, not Rigvedic, all the Vedic text, it has been mentioned that जो division होता था, whatever kind of instruments which were used, तो 3 तरह के instruments होते थे. ठीक है? Because some supernatural power भी होगा. So इस चीज को note करना कि there was a 3 kind of one was mukta yantra. This was called as the mukta arm, and then amukta arm, and then there was a mantra mukta. ठीक है? मंत्र मुक्त। सो ये बस 3 याद रखोगे, काफी कुछ लिख ले जाओगे, ठीक है। सो ये 3 ऐसे समझ लो कि 3 कैटेगरीज ऑफ द इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स वेर यूज, ठीक है। मुक्त आर्म इज द वन, कि मुक्त क्या है, कि मुक्त कर दिया, छोड़ दिया, मुक्त कर दिया, सो दैट इज मुक्त। तो मुक्त की कैटेगरी में व्हाट विल कम, एरो विल कम इनटू द मुक्त, ठीक है। हाँ, तो दे विल बी, एक बार सुन लो, तो दे विल बी थ्रोन, ठीक है। सो जो भी थ्रो करोगे दैट इज द मुक्त आर्म, ठीक है, मुक्त। सो एरो इज द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द मुक्त आर्म। व्हाट इज अमुक्त आर्म, विच यू कैन नॉट थ्रो, विच यू ऑलवेज होल्ड, लाइक गदा, ठीक है। हाँ, स्वॉर्ड, गदा, मेस, देन स्वॉर्ड, ठीक है। त्रिशूल, ठीक है। त्रिशूल इज द कैटेगरी ऑफ द मुक्त अमुक्त। एक चीज ध्यान रखना, 3 कैटेगरी था, लेकिन त्रिशूल इज द कैटेगरी ऑफ द मुक्त अमुक्त। समझ रहे हो, मुक्त अमुक्त में क्या होगा कि दोनों तरह से यूज कर सकते हैं, मुक्त करके चला के भी मार सकते हैं एंड देन घुसा के भी मार सकते हैं, ठीक है। सो बोथ टाइप, सो दिस इज देयर, तो दैट इज द वन आर्म एंड दैट्स व्हाई द शिवा हैज लॉट मच पावर, ठीक है। सो दिस इज द वन थिंग। देन व्हाट इज द मंत्र मुक्त, वो बिना किसी मंत्र के अपने आप तुम चला नहीं सकते, दिस इज द सुपर नेचुरल, ठीक है। सो बोलते हैं ना कि ब्रह्मास्त्र, ठीक है, ब्रह्मास्त्र। सो ब्रह्मास्त्र इज द मंत्र मुक्त। तो विदाउट द मंत्रोच्चारण यू कैन नॉट यूज दिस पर्टिकुलर इंस्ट्रूमेंट, ठीक है। सो दिस वाज द यंत्र मुक्त भी बोलते थे और मंत्र मुक्त भी बोलते थे, और बाद में ये मंत्र मुक्त क्या हो गया, मंत्र मुग्ध हो गया, ठीक है। सो दैट्स हाउ दिस सो मेनी वर्ड्स केम इनटू बीइंग। बट इतना 3 याद रखो, एंड यू मेंशन 2 थिंग्स, धनुर्वेद एंड अग्नि पुराण, वेयर द एंशिएंट वॉरफेयर इज मेंशन्ड, ठीक है। इतने में काफी कुछ हद तक आंसर हो जाएगा अगर जो आया तो, ठीक है। बट इफ आई गेट टाइम तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि एक क्वेश्चन इससे रिलेटेड बना के एंड वन वेरी बेटर आंसर फॉर्मेट मस्ट बी गिवन टू यू, ठीक है। देन आई टेल यू टुडे, आई टेल यू वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्स, one very important source, and not just the important, it is the what I can say, you cannot afford to lose it, to read whatever subjects that you are going to read. So first you tell me, before moving into anything, okay, first you tell me that your paper, your UPSC mains paper, who are the people who are responsible for making the paper, for setting the paper? Professors, ठीक है। Who are these professors? तुमने पूछा तो इसलिए आई एम एलैबोरेटिंग, ठीक है। तुम तो ऐसे बोल रहे हो JNU इज द ऑल इंडिया प्रोफेसर्स, ठीक है। सिर्फ JNU इज नॉट द ओनली यूनिवर्सिटी इन इंडिया, देयर आर मेनी गुड यूनिवर्सिटीज इन इंडिया, ठीक है। JNU इज द ओनली यूनिवर्सिटी इन इंडिया विच इज एंटी इंडिया, ठीक है। So I have seen even my own friends and even my own cousins who are there, I have seen that they have the changed fervor, they have become anti-Indian. They used to, even one of my cousins, he used to be over there in the political science and IR section. One day, one very fine morning, he was just scolding Gandhi ji, ठीक है। So I can just sense, तो मैंने उसको यही बोला ना कि तुम यहाँ पे भरी बाजार में अनपढ़ों के बीच में भी जाके बोलो ना, तो लोग बोलेंगे कि JNU में पढ़ी हो क्या बेटा, ठीक है। So this kind of thing will happen, ठीक है। So हाँ, तो these professors, तो every year what used to happen, that UPSC used to make one panel of the professors from all over India, ठीक है। And they used to make a panel of the professors. I told you that वो panel कैसे बनता है कि जिनके कोई भी relatives exam ना दे रहे हो, they are made sure that कि their relatives, their kins, they are not giving the exam, so they are made responsible, ठीक है। Even my own मेरे बड़े पिताजी was one of the panelist of that. He was a geology professor, ठीक है। तो he was one of the panelists. So this panel is made, ठीक है। पैनल 1 साल पहले डिसाइड हो जाता है, ठीक है। एंड देन एवरी पैनल every professor is asked to create some question from that section. He has been given the responsibility of that section, ठीक है। Even in the current affairs section also they have been given the responsibility and even the areas are given to them कि आपको इसी पे बनाना है, ठीक है। So that's how you get 80 questions, around 80 to 90 questions in the mains paper, ठीक है। But they create 800 to 900 questions and nobody knows that whose question is going to come. That is altogether decided by the 10 members of the UPSC. ठीक है? They used to draw that, they used to see the questions, and then they decide that which question is going to come to into the paper. ठीक है? So ऐसे वो question आता है. ठीक है? Then further, what is the instruction that is given to these people? The instruction that is given to these people that you need to stick to the UGC syllabus. ठीक है? So UGC syllabus, and your text should be the UGC text. ठीक है? So they are prescribed that you need to go by the UGC text. So I'll tell you many questions I have seen over these years, not from the optional, but also most from the in every GS paper. सीधे सीधे एक यहाँ पे ई पाठशाला है UGC पे. Have you seen that e-पाठशाला? Not IGNU. IGNU से confuse मत करना. UGC पे. It is this e-पाठशाला is there on the IGNU. You see the particularly suppose करो कि तुमने history या कोई भी geography या whatever subjects that you have chosen. 3-4 साल के questions देख लो, and then you go search in the module of the geography, search in the module of the pol science. ठीक है? Exact questions you will get in the same, which was asked by UPSC. I'll tell you one question which was asked in the culture section 2015. The question was that ki the Indian civilization is unique in the sense that it has continued, it has preserved its tradition as compared to the Greek, Mesopotamia and Egyptian culture. Exact word is there given on the outlines of the Indian culture. एकदम सेम, एक वर्ड यूपीएससी ने चेंज नहीं किया है. द सेम दिस ईयर क्वेश्चन, हाउ यू विल जस्टिफाई द गुप्ता न्यूमिस्मेटिक आर्ट इज नॉट एट ऑल एग्जिस्टेंट इन द लेटर पीरियड. ठीक है? सो यू गेट आइडिया अबाउट दैट. आई विल टेल यू मेनी क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है? आई हैव सीन 80% ऑफ द क्वेश्चन they are there from the direct source. लेकिन हाँ, उसके लिए आपको pages पढ़ते पड़ेंगे. There are many modules are there. They do have many modules, but you, according to your syllabus, you need to see that. ठीक है? And I'll tell you, those who are planning not to join any coaching for your optional, you must see that particular site. ठीक है? सिर्फ एक ही optional उस पे नहीं है. History. ठीक है? So why it is not there, that also I'll tell you. Because of some issue with the government. Government has said for some updation in that UGC material, which is not as per the requirement of the NDA government. Okay? So they want some changes in that. And because of that changes, it was earlier, it was there, now it has been removed, but within a month, that material would be there on the website. Okay? So you please refer. अभी से चूंकि मेंस आपका धीरे धीरे अब आपके क्लासेस खत्म होने हैं. ठीक है? सो आपके क्लासेस खत्म होने के बाद यू नीड टू आफ्टर द पीटी, बट उसके पहले भी जब तक पीटी का प्रिपरेशन नहीं स्टार्ट करते हो, यू प्लीज सी दैट मटेरियल, यू प्लीज रेफर टू दैट मटेरियल, बिकॉज आई विल बी मोर हैप्पी इफ यू पीपल क्लियर. यहाँ पे बैठे होने से मतलब it's not going to help me also, it's not going to help you also, and my purpose will not be solved. So if I get any information, I'll pass on to you. And I have decided also one more thing, that I'm going to take one number especially for every batch. Okay? So I'll create a group for the same. Okay? For every batch, and if at all any information that comes to you which is handy to you, I'll pass it on to you. Okay? So now come to the this Chola dynasty. Which one? Thank you. Welcome. नहीं, बल्कि नहीं है यूजीसी वाला. नहीं, ऐसा किसने बोला? 6 या 7 पेज का है. अरे नहीं, तुमने नहीं देखा है तब ढंग से. सोशियोलॉजी, बट सोशियोलॉजी में होगा ऐसा. इवन देखो, यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन इज बल्कि, and this particular articles are very simple language, they are in the very simple language. और दूसरा ये है कि even उसका अगर जो language if you are going to reproduce in your paper, so you are going to get the marks. ठीक है? So overall जो देखोगे, जो market में तुम जैसे sociology, he said about the sociology, those who have sociology वो easily identify कर लेंगे. Harlambus and Halburn, how many pages are there? More than 1500 pages are there. 1800, around 1800 pages are there. और स्क्रिप्ट कैसा है? इतना छोटा, बहुत छोटा स्क्रिप्ट है और बहुत कुछ लिखा हुआ है. और यूजीसी का अगर जो उस पैटर्न पे जाओगे तो 500 पेजेस में कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. पूरा का पूरा सिलेबस. एंड देन अगेन सेकंड पार्ट जो आप लोग हर किसी का सेकंड पार्ट होता है, सेकंड पेपर, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सोशियोलॉजी, ठीक है, फिलोसफी. द बेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ द सेकंड पेपर ऑफ योर ऑप्शनल्स इज द यूजीसी. फर्स्ट पेपर तो आप लोग बहुत मार्केट में बहुत अच्छी अच्छी बुक्स हैं उससे कर लेते हो, लेकिन सेकंड पेपर का बहुत कुछ नहीं मिलता है, ठीक है. सो आइदर यू रिलाई ऑन यूजीसी और इग्नू. बट इग्नू क्या है कि इजीली अवेलेबल है, ठीक है. एंड नाउअडेज यूपीएससी इज नॉट आस्किंग फ्रॉम द इग्नू. आई हैव सीन since I was also associated with this exam very recently, you already know. So I have seen that कि मैं तो सारा इग्नू सब कुछ चाट गया था, यही वर्ड बोलूंगा, बिकॉज इन दिस प्रोसेस आई हैव लर्न दिस वर्ड, ठीक है. सब कुछ पढ़ गया था, कितनी बार पढ़ गया था, बट इट नॉट हेल्प टू मच टू मी. माइन वॉज सोशियोलॉजी. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई नो व्हाट इज सोशियोलॉजी. दीज ऑल बुक्स आई हैव रेड, ठीक है. सो but this is not the case that I didn't got 2 times I got very good marks. Last time I got 289 in sociology. When I started to refer the this one, particularly this UGC. But I have given in the 2 optional exam also. ठीक है. So उस टाइम पे भी वो छोड़ देते हैं. So what you have written? The Chola maintained. चलो नहीं तो अदरवाइज फिर हमें कॉल आएगा. सो द चोला मेंटेन्ड एन इफेक्टिव नवल पावर, एंड दे डिफीटेड देयर एडवर्सरीज, with the use of this naval power. Then कुछ फाइट्स का मतलब इनिशियल व्हाट हैपेंड. सो 1-2 लिख लो कि फर्स्ट ही डिफीटेड त्रिवेंद्रम में. क्या हुआ कि त्रिवेंद्रम में ही डिफीटेड चेरास, मदुरई में ही डिफीटेड पांड्यास, एंड देन श्रीलंका, ठीक है. तो यू राइट राजराजा फर्स्ट डिफीटेड चेरा at Trivandrum, and Pandyas at Madurai. ठीक है. Then further right, he also annexed the northern part of Sri Lanka. ठीक है. So he started, but climax was given by his son Rajendra first. ठीक है. So Rajendra first, he didn't limited himself to the Pandya, Chera and Sri Lanka, but he invaded the cities of Srivijay in the Malaysia. ठीक है. So he invaded the cities of Srivijay in Malaysia, Myanmar and Indonesia. ठीक है. And he reached till Cambodia. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द वन थिंग दैट इसके पहले किसी ने सी पार करके उस साइड पे, ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द इंडियन ओशन, नो वन विजिटेड एंड नो वन अटैक्ड एंड नो वन डिफीटेड एनीवन, बट राजेंद्र फर्स्ट वाज द वन. ठीक है. सो यू राइट दिस एक्सपेंशनिस्ट पॉलिसी of Rajaraja first was carried forward by his son Rajendra first. Full stop. Who completely annexed Cheras, Pandyas and whole of Sri Lanka. But one of the major achievement of Rajendra first was the invasion, invasion, invasion of cities of Sri Vijay, cities of Sri Vijay in Malaysia and Indonesia, Malaysia and Indonesia, Malaysia and Indonesia, and he even reached till Cambodia. He even reached till Cambodia. Okay? But something happened when he invaded. So basically, Sri Vijay kind of he requested. Okay? He requested and he accepted the supremacy of this Chola ruler Rajendra I. So a kind of friendship treaty developed between the two. Okay? So later, the part he conquered, he gave back to the Sri Vijay. Okay? Pearl के लिए भी होते थे, and then basically many things were there. Pearl was found over there in the Myanmar section. ठीक, Myanmar section, pearls were there. Then further, white elephant, ivory. ठीक है, so ivory के लिए भी ये fight होता था. ठीक है, and white elephant at that point of time they used to be there in the Thailand. ठीक है, Thailand and the Myanmar section. ठीक है, and you will be amazed to know कि world की 2 सबसे costliest coffee. ठीक है, 2 सबसे costliest coffee, they do have some relation with the one elephant, and one has some relation with the animal named as civet. ठीक है, so you don't have any idea why I'm discussing this question. This was asked to me this year, so in interviews they asked, this was asked to me, but I was able to answer. I was knowing that, and I have kind of, after that interview I tasted the same. So these 2 coffees are, one is the, you have already heard about that key. One is your, Kopi Luwak is the one which you will find in the Malaysia part. Okay? So, Kopi Luwak. Okay? And then there is one more, Black Forest, I think, what is the name of the same? जो elephant से associated है. तो process में बताता हूँ कि process, what is the process that these 2 animals, that white elephant and there is a one बिल्ली का जो family होता है ना, so from that family there is one animal named as civet. ठीक है, so both these animals they are offered the coffee beans. ठीक है, and ये animals क्या करते हैं कि ये बिना उसको चबाए they used to eat it. ठीक है, so they eat the coffee beans, and then that coffee beans is collected because that is very hard. You have seen the coffee beans. ठीक है, so grind तो वो इतनी आसानी से होता नहीं है, तो पेट में actually जो इनके enzymes होते हैं, ठीक है, जो digestive enzymes होते हैं वो इनको digest तो नहीं कर पाते. ठीक है, so what happens कि वो उसी form में वापस आ जाता है. ठीक है, and then that feces is collected. ठीक है, beans from the feces is collected, then it is roasted, grinded, and the coffee is made. And people used to say that ki, this is a divine coffee. ठीक है, so yes, it is. But I found this palm civet, this Kopi Luwak, was a kind of coffee that one needs to test once in his lifetime. So I was asking, did you had that coffee? So I said that no, sir. So he said that ki, so you are planning to the same? So I said that ki, sir, if I'll get that particular information, I'll go. So he said that ki, so where you will do that? Ki, where in India you can get? So I just said to him, sir, I'll be very happy if you tell me. कि where in India I can get that, but ये लोग बहुत चालू होते हैं, जवाब नहीं देते हैं. ठीक है, so बताया नहीं उन्होंने मेरे को इंडिया में. But I was amazed कि यार कोई भी हॉबी रखो, कुछ भी रखो, they know everything. ठीक है, पता नहीं कहाँ से ये कॉपी लुवाक उन लोगों ने मेरे से पूछ लिया. ठीक है, so luckily I was knowing. ठीक है, but still hobbies गलत मत लिखना. ठीक है, otherwise they are very intelligent people and they do a lot much research, particularly the chairman. ठीक है, जो उनके साथ बैठे होते हैं उनको तो नहीं बोल सकते, but particularly chairman is very intelligent and they do all their homework and after that they come to this interviews. ठीक है, so you can expect they can ask this thing. फिर उसके बाद दिन क्या लिखा? He invaded the cities of this Malaysia, Sri Vijay, Malaysia and Indonesia. Then further right, but later but later, a friendship developed between the Cholas, Cholas and kingdoms in South Asia, South East Asia, kingdoms in Southeast Asia. ठीक है? अच्छा, तो after this particular kind of the relationship, friendship relationship, so cultural exchange started to happen, and that's why the temples you will see in the Cambodia, in Indonesia, and two of the very largest temple complexes of the Angkor Wat and Borobudur. ठीक है? So हाँ, तो इसको भी लिख लो कि from here onwards the cultural exchange also started. From here onwards the cultural exchange also started between these two kingdoms. Between these two kingdoms. ठीक है? So अब cultural exchange हो गया, and उसमें लिख सकते हो कि the two temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, तो लिख लेना, ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लेना, the temples of Angkor Wat and Borobudur. Are result of the cultural exchange. Angkor Wat and Borobudur. So Angkor Wat is there in the Cambodia. This one is in the Cambodia. Or Borobudur, where? This is in Indonesia. Okay? So these two temples are the result of this cultural exchange. And even till today, Garuda Airlines, because of the same, okay? Because Garuda was there in the Garuda from the, like, then Milinda Airlines, okay? You will see the Milinda Airlines. So you will see the Indian names over there in this. Currency bhi, initially the currency of this region was rupiah, okay? Rupiah was the currency of the Indonesia, rupiah was the currency of the Myanmar, rupiah was the currency of the India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, okay? But later they adopted in Myanmar and particularly Indonesia, they adopted ringgit. ठीक है? Ringgit in Thailand and Myanmar what? ठीक है? Baht. ठीक है? तो बाद में वो change कर दिया, but initially rupiah was the currency. तो you can see that many things similar in these particular areas. ठीक है? So कहाँ पहुँचे? Borobudur, Indonesia. ठीक है? So ये हो गया this cultural exchange. Then एक और चीज मैं इससे related बोल रहा था कि what was that these two temples, Angkor Wat and Borobudur, they in charge of their maintenance is Archaeological Survey of India. ठीक है? So ये important है, इसको down कर लेना, because recently this Angkor Wat was recently it was reconstructed. Some part of it was fallen, so it was reconstructed by the Archaeological Survey of India.
तो विष्णु टेंपल है, बट सर ये बोरबुदूर
नहीं, अभी दोनों बुद्धिस्ट टेंपल है, चेंज कर दिया बाद में. ठीक है? दे गॉट चेंज. अच्छा, वन मोर थिंग, एक चीज याद रखना, द few institution in India which do have a very reputable position. One is your Election Commission of India and second is Archaeological Survey of India. ठीक है? पूरे ओवरऑल वर्ल्ड में दे डू हैव अ वेरी रेस्पेक्टेबल प्लेस. तो इफ एट ऑल अगर जो कहीं इंस्टेंसेस आते हैं तो यू कैन कोट एटलीस्ट आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया इज द वन विच इज रेस्पेक्टेड ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. ठीक है? और तीसरे में अब तुम कंसिडर कर सकते हो ISRO को. ठीक है? जब से ये सब कुछ स्टार्ट हो रहा है. ठीक है? सो हाँ बोलो. हाँ, it was largest Hindu temple. ठीक है? नहीं, देखो, हिंदू टेम्पल नहीं बोलते, लार्जेस्ट टेम्पल प्रेमाइस. ठीक है? इट वॉज कॉल्ड एज द लार्जेस्ट टेम्पल प्रेमाइस. देन व्हेन अक्षरधाम दिल्ली वॉज मेड, it became the largest temple premise. But right now, Srirangam, Tamil Nadu is the largest temple premise. ठीक है? So largest temple premise in the world today is the Srirangam, Tamil Nadu. ठीक है? Not the Akshardham, Delhi. So ये पिछले 20 years के बीच में ही चेंज हुआ है. Earlier Angkor Wat, then उसके बाद then Akshardham, Delhi, and then this Srirangam. And this Srirangam is associated with the one of the Bhakti saint Ramanuj. ठीक है, सो वो उनके बारे में हम लोग बात करेंगे इन मेडिवल पीरियड. ठीक है, 11th सेंचुरी में हम लोग बात करेंगे. ठीक है, सो एक तो क्लास लेना ही पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज कुछ नहीं होगा. सो वेयर आई वाज, ये इंडोनेशिया हो गया, बोरोबुदुर हो गया. देन हाँ, अबाउट द ही व्हाट द फाइट दैट ही इन विच ही डिफीटेड महिपाल द पाला रूलर. ठीक है, सो आगे लिखो कि राजेंद्र फर्स्ट ऑल्सो लेड एन एक्सपेडिशन. राजेंद्र फर्स्ट ऑल्सो लेड एन एक्सपेडिशन to Bengal. Also led an expedition to Bengal, and he defeated the Pala ruler Mahipal. He defeated the Pal ruler Mahipal at the banks of river Ganga. Banks of river Ganga. At the banks of river Ganga. ठीक है. Then when he defeated this guy, so in order to celebrate this victory, कहीं लिखा था हम लोगों ने, तो he constructed one city, गंगई कोंड चोलापुरम. ठीक है, so you write, in order to celebrate this victory, in order to celebrate this victory, Rajendra first assumed the title of Gangai Kondachola, Gangai Kondachola, and which means the conqueror of the Gangetic Delta. Okay? So conqueror of Gangetic Delta. So Gangai Kondachola, and he also constructed a city. He also first you have written that he assumed the title of Gangai Kondachola, which means conqueror of the Gangetic Delta. Then further, and he also constructed a city at the banks of river Kaveri. At the banks of river Kaveri, known as Gangai Kond Cholapuram. Gangai Kond Cholapuram. Gangai Kond Cholapuram. Then after this, these all victories and all these expeditions, these Chola rulers are more known for their administration and their temple architecture. Okay? So one part is the temple architecture and second part is the administration. And you will see that this is the first time in India that decentralization got started. Okay? So this is the first example of the decentralization in India, and they were the first people to create autonomous villages. Autonomous villages, you understand? What is autonomous villages? हाँ, सेल्फ सफिशिएंट. ठीक है, सेल्फ रूल्ड विलेजेस. ठीक है, सो दे डिवाइडेड होल टेरिटरी इनटू द मंडलम, उर, नाडु एंड कोट्टम्स. ठीक है, तो दैट वी आर गोइंग टू सी. देन फर्दर टेम्पल्स. तो टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर विच दे क्रिएटेड, दिस टेम्पल वाज नॉट जस्ट द सेंटर ऑफ रिलीजन and religious worship, but it was also meant for something. ठीक है, what was that thing? Education. Education was also imparted at the temples. ठीक है, so that was also the one purpose of the temple in this part of the India. ठीक है, so you write, the Chola rulers are mainly known for their architecture, their temple architecture, and their decentralized administration. Their temple architecture and their decentralized administration. Then you write temples. Temples were not just the religious places. Temples were not just the religious places, but also it was the center of education. It was the center of education and peripheral economic activity. And peripheral economic activity. Peripheral economic activity. तो टेम्पल के आसपास में टेम्पल होगा तो there must be some shops would be there, and they made a kind of a ritual that daily you visit the temple, ठीक है, and while on way back home you buy all the essential things which are around that area. तो ये पर्पसली डेलिबरेटली करते थे. एक पर्पस ये था कि यू नीड टू बाई योर डेली एसेंशियल थिंग्स, ठीक है. तो डेली एसेंशियल थिंग्स आप एक दिन में 2 दिन में जाओगे तो वो तो आपको खरीदने जाना है, ठीक है. सो वॉट इफ कि वो टेम्पल के बगल में है तो रिलीजियोसिटी भी डेवलप होगा, ठीक है. एंड वेन यू विल be going to the temples, so somehow you will appreciate the ruler also, कि how beautiful temple is there. Then also not just the god and not just the ruler, but these people, these Chola rulers, they did one very deliberate thing कि temple के अंदर भगवान का तो मूर्ति लगा दिया but अपना भी लगा दिया था, ठीक है. So that was also the one thing, ठीक है. So इसको भी लिख लो कि the rulers also placed their own images. The rulers also placed their own images inside the temple. Inside the temple. Inside the temple.
सर नटराज का जो कंसेप्ट है वो
चोला
सर वो जो टेम्पल से इसमें डांस वगैरह का भी रहता था या वो सेपरेट?
Dance we can always say, ठीक है. A kind of तांडव concept was there. Bharatnatyam was not there, but Bharatnatyam जब develop हुआ तो inspiration was taken from the तांडव, ठीक है. And तांडव I think we have talked elaborately that तांडव के 2 part थे, that रुद्र and आनंद, ठीक है. Lashi was the feminine part, ठीक है. So रुद्र and आनंद, ठीक है. So these all inspiration is taken from that Nataraj only, ठीक है. And these people, these Cholas were the creators of that Nataraj sculpture also. वो भी लिखा है I think. नहीं लिखा है? आई थिंक नहीं, मैंने डिस्कस किया है क्लास में. नहीं लिखा है तो लिख लो, इसको भी लिख लो कि द स्कल्पचर ऑफ डांसिंग शिवा नटराज, द स्कल्पचर ऑफ डांसिंग शिवा नटराज is also the contribution of the Cholas. Is also the contribution of Cholas, ठीक है. Then अभी administration पे आते हैं, ठीक है. And we will cover one recent information which was there in the news related to the Cholas, ठीक है. तो inscription related to water harvesting, ठीक है. कहीं पढ़ा था, अभी हाल में आया था 2-3 महीने पहले. It was there in the news. So it is the first kind of inscription which talks about the water harvesting, ठीक है. So अभी देखो कि at that point of time water was not that scarce subject, but in today's time water is a scarce subject and we are not going for the water harvesting, ठीक है. So but they were the people who were knowing about the same and they did wrote about that कि how to do the water harvesting, and even the rainwater harvesting was also written on that particular inscription, ठीक है. So you write about the same. So अब पैराग्राफ चेंज करके लिखना कि one of the striking feature of the Cholas was their administration. ठीक है. Then you write they divided whole Chola territory. They divided the whole Chola territory into the mandalams. बोर्ड पे लिख रहा हूँ. So you see over here Mandalams, Valanadu, Mandalams, Valanadu, then और ये धीरे धीरे मंडलम would be the province, ठीक है, this would be the zone, then Nadu would be the group of villages, that is block, then Nadu, and then last one Ur, ठीक है. Though no, Kottam is synonymous to the this one Nadu, ठीक है. So Kottams, तो ये बराबर करके नीचे Kottam लिख लेना, but here you write last one is the Ur, ठीक है. So they divided whole territory into mandalams. So mandalams would be the provinces, ठीक है, and then this Valanadu. So Valanadus would be the zone, and then Nadus would be the block, and then Ur would be the small village, ठीक है. मंडलम, वलनाडु, नाडु एंड उर, एंड नाडु को कोट्टम के बराबर कर लेना, ठीक है. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स. देन फर्दर यू राइट देयर विलेजेस वेर ऑटोनॉमस, देयर विलेजेस वेर ऑटोनॉमस एंड सेल्फ रूल्ड, देयर विलेजेस वेर ऑटोनॉमस एंड सेल्फ रूल्ड. सेल्फ रूल्ड. Then you write, they also constructed canals and digged wells for the common public. They also constructed canals and digged wells for the common public. And more to it, there are number of inscriptions of Cholas. There are number of inscription of Cholas which talks about the water harvesting and also rain water harvesting. देखो दोनों सिमिलर है. रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग इज अ वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, ठीक है, बट अलग क्या हो जाएगा कि वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग इज द मेन हेडिंग, ठीक है, उसमें स्मॉल वुड बी द रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, ठीक है. तो वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग एंड रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, ठीक है. सो दिस वाज ऑल फ्रॉम द दिस चोला डायनेस्टी, ठीक है. एंड यू ऑलरेडी सी दैट कि 11th सेंचुरी तक हम लोग पहुंच गए, ठीक है. सो इसमें 11th century के end तक we are there till the 11th century, and now the period will start in the North India, and North India here the Rajputs would be there, ठीक है. So ये पूरा ancient खत्म हो गया. Now we'll start the medieval.
The territory of Chalukya of Vengi.
What was the
Territory of
Chalukya? Vengi is the present day Amravati, ठीक है. अनंतपुर you know, सत्य साई बाबा you know जो डेथ हुआ था ऐसे 2-3 साल पहले, when Sachin also visited when he was not retired. So that Anantapur is the Vengi area, ठीक है. यार प्रेजेंट डे अमरावती द कैपिटल ऑफ द आंध्र प्रदेश, ठीक है. सो वो नीचे से वो पूरा इलाका कवरिंग दैट वेंगी, एंड देन वन मोर इज देयर वेरी क्लोज टू दैट अनंतपुर एंड विच वन no एक गुंटूर आई थिंक इज देयर. गुंटूर इज द पार्ट ऑफ द सेम, ठीक है. एंड यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड दैट गुंटूर चिली इज क्वाइट फेमस. वन ऑफ द GI टैग फ्रॉम दैट एरिया इज द गुंटूर चिली, ठीक है. सो I am also fond of many varieties of the chili. One is the Guntur, which I appreciate. One is the this chilies, you know, na? Red chilies, ठीक है. So Guntur, Baidagi, Jholakia and Mathania, ठीक है. Blackish नहीं होता. Guntur chili is not the normal chili that we used to that we are using in our houses, ठीक है. अभी क्या देखोगे ना कि इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन गुंटूर चिली का ही होता है, ठीक है. एंड द लीस्ट प्रोडक्शन एंड मोस्ट एक्सोटिक चिली इज द मथानिया, द जोधपुर वन, ठीक है. जोधपुर वन इज द मोस्ट exotic, ठीक है, एंड इट हैज अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ फ्लेवर, इट हैज अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट, बट उसके साथ इशू क्या है कि दैट मथानिया रेड चिली इज एक्सपोर्टेड टू द अरेबियन वर्ल्ड. It is used in the non-veg preparations, ठीक है, and there is one very different kind of chili you will appreciate if you like the northeastern food. You'll appreciate झोलकिया from the Nagaland. That's a very interesting chili. So
उस मूवी में सर काफी उसमें दिखाया है।
हाँ, वो देखो सरफरोश मूवी में जितनी मिर्ची बिकी उतनी आज पैदा नहीं होती है, ठीक है, सो ये हाल हो गया है. And actually, the farmers of that region, there is a one district in the Jodhpur, the block name is Mathania, जहाँ पे ये होता है. So they are just requesting the government and they are protesting also कि उनको पैटर्नेज खराब हो रहा है और इंडिया से ये भी लुप्त हो जाएगा, मथानिया भी लुप्त हो जाएगा अगर जो पैटर्नेज नहीं मिला तो, ठीक है. So many things are there. So medieval India will start. So ancient we completed. Now is the time for the medieval. Medieval India. हाँ, you go on break. I was going to tell you. ठीक है, 2-3 minutes. I need to start this. So 3-4 मिनट, 5 मिनट ले लो. 4 o'clock we'll start. ठीक है.
मैं आता हूँ आगे नहीं आया ये नामकरण करवा गया
अलग ही लेवल पे है.
बदला तू इधर से गुजर बस नया लड़का मेरा वही नंबर है क्या सप्तऋषि
चलो अच्छा अच्छा क्यों मना कर दिया
मैं नहीं मना करती
No, I have said them. They are bringing for me. चलो तुम लोग कॉफी पी लो. I'll give you 2-3 minutes. तब तक मैं भी चाय पी लूंगा. देवस्मिता, you'll take coffee? कॉफी लोगे आप? ठीक है.
मूवी
I actually blood was running down. हाँ, it's okay right now. I thought that it was blood pressure, मतलब a high blood pressure. But it is not. One
शादी में जरूर जाएंगे देखेंगे.
हाँ, अभी control है. I'm taking paracetamol. How you good?
हमारे
अच्छा, easy. अच्छा. On that day was one. He helped me out. अच्छा.
क्वालिटी वो पढ़ा रहे अपने ethics वाले सर।
So medieval India, so basically when medieval India this particular words comes into being, तो automatically हमारे दिमाग में क्या आता है कि start of the Islam in India, ठीक है? तो first we need to talk about the little background of the Islam, that how it got propagated. We already know that Islam got originated in the 6th century AD, ठीक है? But the major contribution towards the flourishment of the spread of the Islam in all over the world is contributed towards the to the Turkey particularly. The country, if you want to know country, so country is the Turkey, which led so many efforts which contributed towards the spread of this Islam all over the world. So basically, in 10th century AD, ठीक है? In 10th century AD, there was a dynasty in this part of the world, Turkey part of the world, and the name of the dynasty was Samanid, ठीक है? So Samanids were the ruling dynasties of the this Turkey area, and Iran part also, Turkey, Iraq, Iran, ठीक है? This whole Persian, the West Asian part. So this Samanid was there, and in this particular scenario, so they were followers of the Islamic faith, ठीक है? And what happened कि in this 10th century AD itself, one volatile condition arose in this area, ठीक है? And in this volatile condition, what was that? That the barbaric tribes of the Mongols, so Mongols and Central Asia got started, ठीक है? तो basically some tribes from the, specifically it got started from the Central Asian tribes. So these Central Asian tribes started to attack the Samanid dynasty. The same Central Asians that we used to say in the Indian history ancient part who started to attack India. So again the branches of this is the same Central Asians, ठीक है? They started to attack this Samanid dynasty, ठीक है? And in this attack of the Central Asians, what happened कि one of the ruler of this Samanid dynasty was the Mahmud of Ghazni, ठीक है? So Ghazni का नाम सुना होगा, ठीक है? So one was the Mahmud of Ghazni, and he became the protector of the Islam. तो he emerged, this Mahmud of Ghajni emerged, and he became the protector of the Islam and also the person responsible for spreading the Islam all over the world. So what he did, rather than fighting with these Central Asians, ठीक है, he focused on the winning the minds of the Central Asian, ठीक है, and in this endeavor of his winning the minds of the Central Asian, he was assisted by Mahmud of Ghajni was assisted by his court poet Firdausi, ठीक है, इसका भी नाम सुना होगा, ठीक है. So he was assisted by his court poet Firdausi, and Firdausi wrote one book. Name of the book was Shahnama, ठीक है. So basically this book created a huge impact on the minds of the Central Asians, ठीक है, and most of the Central Asian accepted Islam, ठीक है, and that's how the today's Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, they all are the Islamic. Earlier they were not the Islamic. Earlier they were for the followers of the natural order, ठीक है, जिसमें लॉर्ड शिवा को भी वर्शिप करते थे ये लोग, ठीक है. सो लॉर्ड शिवा, Meluha was also the one who was worshipped over there. The same Meluha that you used to see in the this Amis book. So Meluha was also worshipped in the Central Asian part and the Tibetan part. So earlier they were the worshippers of the natural order, but with this book and impact of this book, all of these people accepted Islam, ठीक है. So fight was kind of averted, ठीक है. So this fight was averted, but ये spread के लिए one more thing was required for spreading of Islam, so he needed to venture somewhere else also. So the Mahmud of Ghajni, whose image was a kind of cultural regenerator, ठीक है. So his image was of the cultural regenerator in the West Asia, but to spread Islam, he started to attack over India. He got to know that there is so much wealth in the Indian temples, and Indian temples are one of the most influencing bodies in the world, ठीक है. At that point of time, that Indian temples were one of the most influencing bodies. So he tried to destroy the temples and looted the temples, and as such, he was a cultural regenerator in West Asia, but he became a plunderer in India, and he plundered many of the famous Indian temples, and one such temple is your temple of Somnath, ठीक है. 17 times he looted that temple, ठीक है, and the last attack was in 1000 AD, which led to the all wealth of the Somnath temple. It was the richest temple of that time. So every ounce of the gold he looted from this temple, ठीक है. So दो part हो गए कि एक part of in one part of the world he is a cultural regenerator. He started a Renaissance period of the Islam in that area, but here he looted this territory, ठीक है. Then further what happened कि when this died, ठीक है, तो this particular person when he died, तो his followers were his inheritors were the Seljuk. And these Seljuks were, so in Seljuks में दो division हो गया. This Seljuks got divided into the two part. One was known as Khwarizmi, and one was Ghur, ठीक है. So Khwarizmi, तो this Seljuks got divided into Khwarizmi and Ghur, ठीक है. इनके बीच में झगड़ा हुआ and they got divided into two, ठीक है. So Khwarizmi was the area where one part used to live, and Ghur was the area where one part used to live, ठीक है. अब division हुआ तो जाहिर सी बात है कि there must be some conflict. So basically what was the conflict between these two people कि these Khwarizmi rulers and the Ghur rulers, they used to fight over the mastery of one particular country, one particular territory, and that country is one of the most important countries since time immemorial. So what was that name of that country for which they were fighting with each other? Which one? No, Iran is not there. Even today for that country fight is going on. Syria. So that is Syria. So they were fighting for the mastery over Syria. ठीक है. So in this fight, what happened? कि this Khwarizmi ruler defeated the Ghuri ruler. ठीक है. Ghuri ruler, and when he was defeated, so the ruler of the Ghur, Muhammad Ghuri, ठीक है, he started to attack in India, ठीक है, जिसको बोलते हैं मोहम्मद गौरी, ठीक है. So original name is Muhammad Ghuri, ठीक है. So he started to attack in India, and that's how the phase of the Islam got started in India. तो एंड हिज स्लेव वाज द कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक. तो विल कम टू दैट, पहले इतना सारा लिख लो, ठीक है. सो यू राइट इन द 10th century AD, in the 10th century AD, a volatile political situation. In the 10th century AD, a volatile political situation emerged in West and Central Asia. In West and Central Asia, ठीक है. Then you write the Samanid dynasty based in Iraq, Iran and Turkey. The Samanid dynasty based in Iran and Turkey. Based in Iran and Turkey was under constant threat. Was under constant threat from the Central Asian tribesmen. Central Asian tribesmen. Full stop. Then you write the rulers of the Samanid dynasty. The rulers of the Samanid dynasty followed Islamic faith. Followed Islamic faith. Followed Islamic faith, and they were hard pressed. They were hard pressed to maintain. They were hard pressed to maintain the territorial integrity. Hard pressed to maintain the territorial integrity against this Central Asian tribesmen. Against this Central Asian tribesmen who worshipped, comma करके लिखना, so who worshipped the forces of nature. Who worshipped the forces of nature. ठीक है. Then further you write in this context, full stop के बाद लिखो in this context a new type of soldier was born. A new type of soldier was born who was known as Ghazi. Who was known as Ghazi. Who was known as Ghazi. ठीक है. तो and first of this Ghazi soldier is the Mahmud of Ghazni. ठीक है. तो before that what was the purpose of this soldier? ठीक है. तो you write Ghazi was interested. इंटरेस्टेड में ट्रस्ट वाला ट्रस्टेड, ठीक है, इंटरेस्टेड वाला नहीं, ठीक है. सो इंटरेस्टेड, गाजी वॉज इंटरेस्टेड विथ टू फंक्शंस. गाजी वॉज इंटरेस्टेड विथ टू फंक्शंस. फर्स्ट टू प्रोटेक्ट द पॉलिटिकल डोमेन ऑफ Samanid. टू प्रोटेक्ट द पॉलिटिकल डोमेन ऑफ Samanid. And second, to popularize the Islamic faith. And to popularize the Islamic faith among the Central Asian tribesmen. Among the Central Asian tribesmen. ठीक है. Then you write the first Ghazi was Mahmud of Ghazni. Mahmud of Ghazni. ठीक है, full stop. Then you write after Mahmud of Ghazni, who started the spirit of cultural renaissance, who started the spirit of cultural renaissance. Renaissance I have written over there. So Renaissance they used to write, but it is read as Renaissance. Okay? So cultural Renaissance, RENAISSANCE, cultural Renaissance, cultural Renaissance in Iran, cultural Renaissance in Iran, and he was facilitated, by his court poet, and he was facilitated by his court poet Firdausi, his court poet Firdausi. ठीक है, FIRDAUSI, ठीक है, Firdausi. Then you write Firdausi wrote Shahnama. Firdausi wrote Shahnama, which created, Firdausi wrote Shahnama, which created a very strong impact, which created a very strong impact on the minds of Central Asian tribesmen, on the minds of Central Asian tribesmen. And as such, after full stop you write, and as such, several of them accepted Islamic religion. Accepted Islamic religion. And later they became the strongest defenders and crusaders. They became the strongest defenders and crusaders of Islam. They became the strongest defenders and crusaders of Islam. ठीक है, सो जब तक ज्वाइन नहीं किया था तब तक तो ठीक था, बट जब ज्वाइन किया तो सबको पूरी तरह से खत्म कर दिया. Either you accept Islam or you go to hell. ठीक है, so this was kind of attitude to of the Central Asian tribesmen. ठीक है, so this was the one. Then after this cultural regenerator वाला phase लिख लो कि even though the image of Mahmud of Ghazni, even though the image of Mahmud of Ghazni was cultural regenerator in West Asia, comma, his image in Indian history is that of a plunderer. His image in Indian history is that of a plunderer, lutera. ठीक है, so plunderer. Then you write he raided raid मारना ना, तो raided. He raided many of the major Indian temples. He raided many of the Indian major temples 17 times. 17 times. Many of the major Indian temples 17 times. ठीक है, फिर लिखो the last attack was on the temple of Somnath. The last attack was on the temple of Somnath in 1025 AD. In 1025 AD. ठीक है, so this was the last attack, and पूरी तरह से this temple got demolished. So we talked about that temple ki how this temple was made, Somnath. So initially we talked about that ki it was made by the moon god initially, and after the moon god, Lord Krishna worshipped Lord Shiva over there, and he created the second temple of the Somnath. Then after, before this demolition, ठीक है, and also after the demolition, Raja Bhimdev Solanki this created this temple Somnath, ठीक है, and the present version is created by the Archaeological Survey of India. 1995. हाँ इसको हाँ this was again renovated, ठीक है. So this is one of the very beautiful premise. अच्छा एक और चीज, one more thing, which I recently I have seen in the paper, that very frequently UPSC is asking some questions related with the Jyotirlingas, ठीक है. So Shiv Jyotirlingas from 2014 onwards I am seeing that 3 times Jyotirlingas has been mentioned in the, so 12 Jyotirlingas are there. 12 Jyotirlingas are there. Few of them you know. So you tell me that few of them that you know. क्योंकि ज्योतिर्लिंगा अगर जो एक बार याद होगा तो उससे जो एसोसिएटेड क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है यूपीएससी, उसमें यू विल बी एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई. सपोज दैट दिस ईयर क्वेश्चन दे आस्क्ड कि विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग टेम्पल इज द सन टेम्पल, ठीक है. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर द सन टेम्पल. ऑप्शन वाज अमरकांतक एंड अर्सवल्ली एंड देन ओमकारेश्वर और माहेश्वर, ठीक है. सो इट वाज गिवन. तो इफ यू नो दैट ओमकारेश्वर इज अ ज्योतिर्लिंग, तो यू कैन एलिमिनेट. एलिमिनेशन के थ्रू अगर जो सन टेम्पल नहीं पता है तो यू कैन डू. इसके पहले भी इसी टाइप का क्वेश्चन आया था, ठीक है. सो यू टेल मी दैट विच ऑल आर द ज्योतिर्लिंगास. पहला, सबसे पहला बताओ. हाँ, काशी विश्वनाथ इज द वन, ठीक है. यू आर राइट. विच वन? काशी विश्वनाथ इज द वन, बट द फर्स्ट वन इज त्रयंबकेश्वर. यस, त्रयंबकेश्वर, महाकालेश्वर, उज्जैन, ठीक है. 2 हो गया. फिर उसके बाद दिन ओमकारेश्वर, माहेश्वर, ठीक है. सो ओमकारेश्वर एंड माहेश्वर क्या है कि नर्मदा रिवर के दोनों साइड पे, एक साइड पे ओमकारेश्वर, एक साइड पे माहेश्वर, ठीक है. तो एंड महाकालेश्वर इज देयर ऑन द बैंक्स ऑफ द रिवर शिप्रा, ठीक है.
ओमकारेश्वर नॉर्थ फेस्ड है.
अच्छा,
नॉर्थ फेस्ड है इसलिए फेमस है.
हाँ, मे बी whatever be the reason, but what I am saying that कि these two are the ज्योतिर्लिंगास. देन उसके बाद दिन और बताओ कितना हो गया. 4 हो गया, ठीक है. फिर उसके बाद दिन अमरनाथ, अमरनाथ, ठीक है. फिर केदारनाथ, ठीक है. बद्रीनाथ इज विष्णु, इट इज नॉट लॉर्ड शिवा. सो बद्रीनाथ इज विष्णु, ठीक है. देन सोमनाथ, ठीक है. सोमनाथ. देन फर्दर और बताओ. मल्लिकार्जुन, रामेश्वरम, ठीक है. मल्लिकार्जुन, रामेश्वरम, कितना हो गया. काशी विश्वनाथ, दिस वाराणसी, 11 हो गया. एक कोई बच रहा है, ठीक है. ओमकारेश्वर, माहेश्वर, नागार्जुन एंड मल्लिकार्जुन ऑल्सो देयर. ओवरऑल दीज आर देयर. ये सीरीज में, एक सीरीज में मुझे भूल गया. अमरनाथ यू हैव रिटन. कैलाश मानसरोवर इज नॉट द ज्योतिर्लिंग, ये याद रखना, ठीक है. सो हाँ, अमरनाथ इज द ज्योतिर्लिंग बट नॉट कैलाश मानसरोवर, ठीक है. सो कैलाश मानसरोवर इज डिफरेंट. एक और भूल रहा है यार. इट इज देयर, इट इज ऑल्सो द ज्योतिर्लिंगा. एक बार डिक्टेट कर देते हैं, ठीक है. 1 मिनट, एक लिख लो तुम लोग. एक काम करना, द फर्स्ट वन यू हैव रिटन त्रयंबकेश्वर, ठीक है. फिर हाँ, महाबालेश्वर, महाबालेश्वर ये छूट रहा था. पहले लिखो महाबालेश्वर. लाओ मैं लिख दो.
काफी सारे कंफ्यूजन है
किसमें,
इनके सब नेम्स में.
किसमें लिख ले दो. पहले एक बार पूरा कंप्लीट कर ले दो, देन यू आस्क क्वेश्चन, ठीक है. सो त्रयंबकेश्वर, महाबालेश्वर. अब उसके बाद लिखो उज्जैन वाला, ठीक है. महाकालेश्वर, दैट इज महाकालेश्वर, ठीक है. सो महाकालेश्वर. देन ओमकारेश्वर, माहेश्वर, ठीक है. ओमकारेश्वर, माहेश्वर. फिर उसके बाद देन आ जाओ नॉर्थ इंडिया में, ठीक है. तो नॉर्थ इंडिया में यू राइट अमरनाथ, केदारनाथ, ठीक है. देन इन गुजरात पार्ट यू राइट सोमनाथ, ठीक है. और नॉर्थ इंडिया में ही लिख लो काशी विश्वनाथ. गुजरात पार्ट में सोमनाथ, ठीक है. देन इन वाराणसी यू राइट काशी विश्वनाथ, ठीक है. फिर उसके बाद देन यू राइट 2 मोर, मल्लिकार्जुन एंड रामेश्वरम. हाँ, आफ्टर सोमनाथ मल्लिकार्जुन एंड रामेश्वरम. मल्लिकार्जुन एंड रामेश्वरम. ठीक है. सो 10 ही हुआ. नहीं यार 11 हो गया. उमा शंकर. उमा शंकर. ठीक है यार, इतना टेम्पल बस याद रखना, इसके अलावा छोड़ देना. ठीक है. अदरवाइज सन टेम्पल में ऑलरेडी फ्यू ऑफ द सन टेम्पल्स यू नो. ठीक है. कोणार्क एंड मोधेरा बहुत डिस्कस्ड है, तो ये सब पूछेगा नहीं. इस ईयर में पूछ लिया अर्सवली एंड देन अमरकांत तक. ठीक है. सो उसके अलावा कोई सन टेम्पल इंपॉर्टेंट होगा तो आई विल सी देन इन नेक्स्ट क्लास. आई टॉक अबाउट द सेम. इसी एक चीज के लिए आई वॉज प्रिस्क्राइबिंग दैट न्यू बुक के लिस्ट ऑफ द टेम्पल्स. बट मैं ये 2-3 दिन में आई विल मेक द लिस्ट एंड आई विल गिव इट टू यू. ठीक है. तो कोई बुक मत खरीदना फर्दर इस पार्ट के लिए. सो वेयर आई वॉज, क्या लिखा. सो लास्ट अटैक वॉज देयर ऑन द 1025 सोमनाथ. ठीक है. तो दिस वॉज सोमनाथ. देन फिर उसके बाद दिन दिस सैमनिड डायनेस्टी वॉज सक्सीडेड बाई द सेल्जुक. ठीक है. तो आगे लिखो कि द सैमनिड डायनेस्टी वॉज सक्सीडेड बाई द सेल्जुक्स. The Samanid dynasty was succeeded by the Seljuks. However, Seljuk, Seljuk, ठीक है. Then you write, however, they got divided into two branches. However, they got divided into two branches. First branch is the Khwarizmi Empire. Khwarizmi, यहाँ इस पे लिखा था आई थिंक KHWARIZMI. The Khwarizmi Empire. Khwarizmi Empire in Iran. And Ghurid Empire, GHURID, Ghurid Empire in Turkey. Ghurid Empire in Turkey. ठीक है. So आगे लिखो. These two dynasties fought with each other या clashed with each other. These two dynasties clashed with each other for the mastery over Syria. So एक बार फिर वापस सीरिया आया. ठीक है. So हमने फिर वहीं बंद कर दिया. So again you already know that what were the things which can be ascribed to Syria. So I think हमने बात किया था पहली क्लास में in the ancient में कि Syria was the country where the first agriculture happened. ठीक है. First agriculture, first use of copper. ठीक है. And it was one of the most fertile areas of the world at that point of time. ठीक है. And it is also, Syria was is the one country which was considered as the gateway of the cultures. ठीक है. Have you heard about this Abyssinian world? ठीक है. Abyssinian world, Altamira. ठीक है. So ये structures जो Altamira, Abyssinia, all the structures which were there, they were considered as the one of the finest examples of the art in the Syria. So Syria is not just associated with the this agriculture, this metal use, but also the art and architecture. आगे हम लोग अभी पढ़ेंगे. Now already we have studied that Delhi सल्तनत के टाइम पे in art and architecture that dome and arc structure. So that dome and arc structure it also got originated in the Syria. ठीक है. So these all thing has been brought from the Syria to all over the world. And अभी क्या condition क्या है? उसमें से कुछ भी सीरिया में survive नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है. So all has been destroyed by this ISIS people. ठीक है. So आगे लिखो कि mastery और सीरिया लिख लिया ना. Then you write in this contest, Khwarizmi ruler defeated in this contest. Khwarizmi ruler defeated the Ghurid ruler. Khwarizmi ruler defeated the Ghurid rulers. Khwarizmi ruler defeated the Ghurid ruler. As such, they were forced. As such, they were forced. They were forced to shift their attention. They were forced to shift their attention towards Indian territory. Towards Indian territory. Or already Mahmud of Ghazni showed them the path that how to attack India. Okay? From where to attack India. So already some inroads were created by the Mahmud of Ghazni. So it was easy for them. And you already know that in geography, when you will be reading very deeply the world geography, so you will get to know that in Pakistan there are few hill ranges, Suleiman and Hindu Kush, and many passes are there. Okay? Salt range is there. Okay? So many passes are there, Khojak, Bolan, Golan, okay? Gomak. So many passes are there, and it is very easy to come from these passes. Okay? And whenever one side is coming from the passes, or us side mein, on the other side there is a mountain, and on the other side if there is a plain, so it is always advantageous to the side which is coming from the mountainous side. Okay? So that's how they were able to defeat the people in the Pakistan, and that's how they were able to come to very easily to the Indian part. Okay? And this is the one thing which was also associated with the Panipat battles. Okay? कि Panipat was the one plain area, very plain area, उसके बाद दिन पूरा plain था. But Panipat के इधर, when you go towards the Pathankot and all these areas, so they were the hilly areas, and whenever any Mughals also came from the same region. So they used to hide behind those mountains, and it was easy for them to identify their enemy from that high region. And when that particular enemy was coming from the plain area, so they was just a kind of accumulating their all paraphernalia over there at the mountain, and they attacked suddenly. And that's how even with a very small troop, Babur was able to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. ठीक है? So, first battle of Panipat. उसके बाद दिन second battle happened between the Akbar and Hemu. That's also because Akbar was at that point of time, he was also there in the Kabul. ठीक है? And when he defeated Hemu, तो Hemu was there in the Delhi. ठीक है? तो यही reason था. Then in the third battle of the Panipat, Ahmad Shah Abdali and the Marathas. ठीक है? So Ahmad Shah Abdali again he came from the mountains. ठीक है? And Marathas came from this plain part, and they got defeated. And Marathas were also having one of the very strongest army. So guerrilla warfare they were known for. उन्होंने भी ये देखा था कि छुप छुप के वार करना, लेकिन यहाँ उनके लिए possible नहीं था. ठीक है? So they got defeated. ठीक है? So this was the reason, and this was the question which was asked by UPSC in 2015 mains. ठीक है? कि why Panipat? Why all the battles used to happen? Most of the battles used to happen at the Panipat. ठीक है? Few reasons were there. So they asked, एक बार question देखना उसको. So this question was asked, and this was the main thing that पानीपत पे इतने सारे battles होते थे. ठीक है? And Panipat was also a very stable area.
Marathas were captured by these Afghanis and converted to Muslims in that Balochistan area.
Okay, that could be. हाँ.
Maratha उसको follow करते थे.
Pashtuns, Baluchs. ठीक है? They were there. ठीक है? So चलो आगे चलते हैं. So no, he has read a lot. I know him. So it is better to just make him stop. So what I'm saying, आगे तो Muhammad Ghori, ठीक है? So this Ghurid rulers, they started to attack to the Indian territory, and in this attack, this particular ruler Muhammad Ghori, ठीक है? So Muhammad Ghori started to come to India, and his original name was Muhammad bin Saim. ठीक है? So his original name was Muhammad bin Saim, but since he was associated with the Ghurid region, तो इंडिया में जब आया तो इंडिया में लोग people उसको बोलने लगे मोहम्मद घुरी. ठीक है? And later मोहम्मद गौरी. ठीक है? So that's how he was named. तो you write, इसमें लिखो, in the second half of 12th century AD, in the second half of 12th century AD, one of the Ghurid ruler, Muhammad Ghori, started to invade India. started to invade India. ठीक है? Then you write in 1178. In 1178, he annexed Uch and Multan. Uch, UCCH, ठीक है? Uch and Multan in Western India. So these two, Uch and Multan, both are there in the Pakistan, present day Pakistan, ठीक है? So Uch and Multan in Western India, ठीक है? So when he was annexing this particular part of the Indian territory, the Pakistani part, ठीक है, of the Indian territory, so at the same point of time, 7 Rajput families were ruling in this North India, North and also the West India, ठीक है? So West India and whole of the North India. So 7 Rajput families were there, and out of this 7 Rajput family, 4 of them were the Agnikul Rajput, ठीक है? So Agnikul Rajput का मतलब ये होता है कि they used to say that our origin is from the fire, ठीक है? So they used to say origin is from the fire. Agnikul Rajputs were there, and 3 other Rajput families were there, ठीक है? So this Agnikul Rajputs and this other three other Rajput families which were there. So one of these 7 family was your Chauhans of Bhatinda, ठीक है? So Chauhans of Tabarhind या Chauhans of Ajmer, ठीक है? So these were the families. तो इसको लिखो कि बोलो. Muhammad bin Qasim, he was, Ghori was called as the Qasim. Even he has been given many names. 712. I don't have idea of the same. First Muslim invasion in India. But that was not successful. That was not successful, not at all. Okay? And you see that these are the stray incidences. We don't need to focus on the same. Which text, particularly? No, please don't talk about that thing. Okay? So, वो सब छोड़ दो यार. ये सब information तुम लोग मत रखो. ठीक है? Because UPSC is not going to ask this kind of question. ठीक है? So, please leave it. आगे इसमें थोड़ा जल्दी करो because we don't have that much time. So you write, in India from the 10th century AD onwards, several Rajput families emerged. And 4 of them were Agnikul Rajputs. So I can just see that many of you do have classes from the 5 o'clock, optional subject. So why not you put a request to the start this class from the 1 o'clock? अच्छा, तुम लोग की classes हैं, कब खत्म होते हैं? 1:30 बजे. अच्छा, 1:30 बजे वो खत्म होते हैं and then इधर 5 बजे start होते हैं, ठीक है? Tomorrow's class is from the 1:30, but that would be the combined class over there, ठीक है? So चलो कुछ न कुछ तो कहीं ना कहीं accommodate करना पड़ेगा किसी न किसी को, ठीक है? So even mine would be the last and उसमें भी 2 घंटे से ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा, ठीक है? So आज जितना ख़त्म करेंगे उसके बाद then I'll need 2 hours, ठीक है? उसमें बाकी सब कवर हो जाएगा. So अभी थोड़ा तेज लिखो. 4 were Rajput families. 4 were the Agnikul Rajput, and you write the name of the same. So you write first Rajput family, Partihar in Gujarat. Partihar, based in Gujarat. Then you write Parmar. First Pratihar, based in Gujarat. Then you write Parmar, based in Malwa. Then Chalukyas, based in southern Gujarat. But initially they were in the southern Gujarat. Okay? So Chalukyas, based in southern Gujarat, and Chauhans, Chauhans based in Ajmer. Chauhans based in Ajmer. ठीक है? These were the 4 Rajput families from the Agnikul. ठीक है? So Chauhans, then उसके बाद then add करो, apart from the Agnikul Rajput, apart from Agnikul Rajput, 3 more Rajput families were there. 3 more Rajput families were there, which are Gahdola, Gahdolas of Kannauj, Gahdolas of Kannauj, then Chandelas of Bundelkhand, Chandela of Bundelkhand, and last one, Tomar of Delhi. Tomar of Delhi. ठीक है? Last one, Tomar of Delhi. ठीक है? So Gahdola, Chandela, Tomar of Delhi. ठीक है? And you have already heard about them. Chandela, they are attributed with the Khajuraho temples. Tomars, they are known for the Lal Kot, the first walled city, ठीक है, जो दिल्ली में था. So they are related with the same. So these were there. Then what is the story? So later story कि in this fight, when this particular guy Muhammad Gauri was overrunning the Indian territory, so this Chauhan family, one young boy from this Chauhan family, emerged as the leader of all the houses. ठीक है? So this young boy was your Prithviraj Chauhan. ठीक है? So Prithviraj Chauhan was that young boy